Yo, what's up movie people? I hope you're doing well. Barbie just hit $1 billion, so that makes 53 movies to hit $1 billion at the box office. So I'm going to do a quick tier list of all $1 billion movies. Hopefully it's quick. Make sure you leave a like, it helps it a lot. Let's get right to the tier list. Alright, so as I said, we got 53 movies to get to, so I'm trying to go as fast as I can. It might be a long video, so make sure to get a snack, enjoy the video. But I'm also down this little corner because I want you guys to see the whole entire tier list, so that's why I'm just really small on this video. But let's get started. First up is Aladdin, the Disney remake live action. This one I actually have a really fun time with, probably because the first original Aladdin is my favorite Disney animated classic movie. I think that the songs are so well done. The romance between Jasmine and Aladdin is well done. And the genie, Will Smith as the genie, was actually a really good surprise in the movie. I thought he was awesome. So I'm going to put Aladdin in the C tier. I'm going to be pretty picky on these movies. Next up is Alice in Wonderland, the live action one. I really don't go back to this one a lot, even though it looks beautiful. I think the makeup design and costume design is awesome. Honestly, it's just not a movie that I really go back to too much. So I'm going to put it in the D tier. Next up is Aquaman. Aquaman is also kind of like Aladdin. One I have a lot of fun with, but I think some parts of it could be a lot better. I think that Jason Momoa is awesome. And, you know, I think the VFX is really well done, especially the cinematography too. James Wan actually did a great job on this film. And I think this is one of the DC films that I go back to a lot just because it's a really fun time. Goes by pretty quick. And as I said, it's pretty funny with Jason Momoa. Like, I don't know what's going to happen with DC, but Aquaman I think is a fun time. Putting it in the C tier. Next up is Avatar: The Way of Water. Avatar: The Way of Water is one of my favorite films of 2022. A true spectacle and a true achievement in filmmaking and VFX by James Cameron. I can't believe what I saw. I'm a big Avatar lover, supporter. If you hate Avatar, I can respect it, but I just love science fiction, and I love the storyline of family that they're trying to tell here, and Jake Sully is just such a cool protagonist to tell a story about. So I'm going to put Avatar: The Way of Water in the... I'm going to put it in the S tier. Yes, it's an S. Next up is Avatar the Original. Just a little... Probably not as good as the second one because I think some of the story isn't as polished as the second one. But dude, that film looks amazing for when it came out. 2009, I think it was when it came out. But yeah, it looks amazing. It's going in the A tier for me. Next up is Avengers: Infinity War, one of the most underrated Marvel movies in my opinion. And I actually do like this one more than the first Avengers. Don't sue me. But man, this one is lots of fun, and I do like it every time I rewatch it, even more and more. I love Quicksilver, even though he got killed off. I don't know why they killed him off in this movie. Ultron was actually really cool, and I just love the whole third act on Sokovia. Every fight scene is awesome in this movie. We're not going to talk about Joss Whedon, because F Joss Whedon, no one cares about him. So, Age of Ultron is going in the B tier. Next up, Avengers Endgame. What do I got to say about Avengers Endgame and Avengers Infinity War? They're both superior movies. They're both amazing. Some of the best theater experiences I ever had, especially Endgame when basically Cap lifted Mjolnir. Such a great experience. Endgame is going in the S tier. And Infinity War, one of the best moments was when Thor arrived on Wakanda. That moment just is cemented in film history for me. And the cliffhanger was absolutely insane. Those are two of the most popular movies of all time. Everyone and their mom and dad went to go see those movies. Next up is Barbie, our newest movie in the $1 billion club. Barbie, as I said, I have a review of it on my channel. I think Barbie is an amazing movie. I love it. It's such a fun satire kind of comedy. Greta Gerwig, I love her directing style. Little Women, Lady Bird, and Barbie. They're all amazing in my opinion. I love the character arcs that everything's taken in this one. And Ryan Gosling's I'm Just Ken is still stuck in my head. Still playing it every day, at least 2 times a day. And I'm Kenough, so I'm going to put Barbie in the A tier. Next up is The Beauty and the Beast, live action adaptation. Yeah, I think this is, I don't know if I would say best. I think this is the best live action Disney movie they have, live action remake. Emma Watson is stunning in this movie, though the songs are awesome. I'm not actually a big Beauty and the Beast original fan, but this one actually made me a huge fan. Josh Gad is actually pretty good in this movie, even though I don't really like Josh Gad too much. I liked him in this movie a decent bit, and the costume design is perfect. I actually go back to this one a lot. I'm actually go rewatch it again. I really just have a fun time with this one. So it's going in the B tier. Next up is the first Black Panther. A really big kind of monumental change for movies, I think, with this being a $1 billion movie. No one actually thought it was going to be a $1 billion movie, but it did. I think Black Panther, I don't know. I think this one actually got worse for me on rewatch. I don't know why. I do love the world building a lot. The soundtrack is amazing. But I think that the third act kind of goes off the rails a little bit. It goes too much spectacle and blockbuster for me, and the VFX is also not great. But I do love Chadwick Boseman. Rest in peace to him. He was just amazing in this movie as our Black Panther. And Michael B. Jordan as Killmonger, one of the best villains Marvel's had. So it's going in the B tier. Next up is Captain America: Civil War. One of the better. I mean, I don't know if I want to say best. It's definitely top 10, top 15 MCU. Some of the choices in here I didn't really like, and then now we have the drama of when was Rhodey a Skrull? Is he a Skrull during this movie, which would be the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. But the conflict between Cap and Tony is so cool to watch play out on a big screen. I remember seeing this on the big screen when I was a lot younger, and it was just awesome. I love the fight scene, especially the third act fight scene where Tony's just fighting Bucky and Cap. Oh man, that is so cool. One of my favorite moments in the MCU. And the airport battle is really cool, even though the color correction and the lighting is kind of off during the airport battle. Still liked it. And we got Tom Holland as Spidey in this one. Really awesome. So Civil War is going on the B tier. Next up is Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel, a lot of people hate. I'm not really a big hater of Captain Marvel. I think it's just fine, in my opinion. I think Brie Larson gives some great acting in here, but the writing is just all over the place in here. And I think the story is also pretty weak. I didn't really care about the Skrulls or the Kree or whatever was happening. I just cared about Brie Larson, Samuel L. Jackson in this one. The rest is just, I could just do without it. So Captain Marvel, I think, is okay. I don't know if I'm going to put it in C or D tier. I think I'm going to put in D, even though it'll probably be at the top of D when we're finished. Despicable Me 3. Despicable Me 3, I just don't care about. It, I think once I got to the third one, it's just not very good, in my opinion. I mean, kids will have a lot of fun with them, but the storyline just got a lot weaker the more characters they introduced in this franchise. I mean, there still is some fun to be had with it, but I just don't care, so I'm going to put Despicable Me 3 in the F tier. Don't kill me on that one. Finding Dory. Finding Dory is one of the Pixar movies that I don't actually care for that much either. I think it's just fine, like a lot of other movies that we've encountered. But I gotta give it props. The animation is pretty beautiful, and I do like the storylines of our main characters, Dory in here especially, because it's her movie. But I wasn't really I'm not really a big Dory supporter, so I don't really care that she has her own movie too much. So with that all that said, I'm just gonna put Finding Dory in the C tier. I think it's okay. Next up is Frozen 2. Frozen 1 and 2 are some of the better animated movies that Disney has made in the past 10 years, so I can give them that. But they are pretty basic stories. I do like our characters here, especially Olaf, Elsa, and Anna. I think those are some of the better characters, and I actually do like them a little bit. So Frozen 2, though, Frozen 2 was a little weak, I really thought Frozen 2 was going to be a lot better than it was, but I just didn't really care for the whole storyline that this was going for, so I think I want to put it in the D tier. Frozen 1, I did actually care about our characters and emotions in this one, so I'm going to put it in the C tier. Next up is Furious 7. I think this is probably the best Fast and Furious movie that you're ever going to get, because it's just a lot of fun. I'm pretty sure James Wan directed this one also, so I'm actually going to put it on the same tier as the other movie, Aquaman. Next up is Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. Yeah, this is one of my favorite Harry Potter movies. I think it is my overall favorite. Then I have some other movies below it. But yeah, this is the epic finale of the Harry Potter movies. I wish I was old enough to have seen this in the theaters, because it would have been like one of those moments that Avengers Endgame was for me. It's probably one of those moments that it was for like my parents to see this kind of movie in the theater. But just watching how they finished the series in such a fantastic way, it's kind of epic. We haven't had a series like this, like book to movie adaptation, in so long, like done this well. So I think it's gonna go in the S tier. Next up is the first Harry Potter. First Harry Potter's great. It's a classic to put on anytime during Christmas. I think is the best time to play it. And I think it's just a really easy watch. Child actors in it, they're great. They grew up to be just amazing actors, in my opinion. So I'm gonna put it in the B tier. Not as good as some of the other Harry Potter movies, but still great. Next up is Iron Man 3. This one I think is also pretty underrated MCU movie. I think it's a Christmas movie. I watch it usually at Christmas every once in a while, and I think it's a lot of fun in this one, especially the third act with all of the suits coming in. One of my favorite moments in the MCU, period. I cannot I cannot like talk about that enough. It's such a cool moment. The villain though is kind of written weak, like the Mandarin in this one, but without all that, I think it's a pretty fun movie. So I think I'm putting it in the C tier. Next up is Joker, actually a pretty controversial movie, but when I first saw it, I was like kind of stunned by what I saw because it's like a very emotional movie, kind of like emotionally draining at the same time because it deals with such like a harsh subject of the Joker origin and how kind of puts people on display in movies that are never really on display. But I think Joker is, I don't know, I think it's amazing, but I don't know if I'm going to put it in the A tier. Yeah, I think I'm going to put it in the A tier, just how it's made and what Joaquin Phoenix did with that character, won the Oscar for it. Damn, he's so good. Next up is Jurassic Park, a classic. Steven Spielberg knocked it out of the park. S tier, obviously. Jurassic World Dominion. Wow, we got Dominion on here. I forgot that made $1 billion. Jurassic World Dominion was a huge disappointment. The locusts being the main villain. Are you kidding me? Why are the locusts the main villain? We're not gonna go through this. That was the stupidest thing I've ever seen in a Jurassic Park movie. Why were the locusts the main villain? You brought back the original cast just to make the locusts the main villain? Are you joking? It's going in the D tier. I don't like it that much. Jurassic World, the second one. Yes, Jurassic World, the second one. This one's actually pretty cool, not gonna lie. Yeah, I have a lot of fun with this one, especially the little girl that's in it. I think she's awesome. And just when they're all trying to escape the island, I think that's a cool scene. When the one dinosaur gets left behind and is dying on the island, one of the most heartbreaking scenes you can ever have. They kind of like it kind of falls apart in the ending, but I think it has a lot of cool horror moments in the end. So, you know, I actually respect this one a lot. A lot of people don't like it, but I'm going to put it in the C tier. Next up is the first Jurassic World. First Jurassic World is pretty cool, not going to lie. Like how they brought the Jurassic Park franchise back and made it into like a big spectacle, which is Jurassic World with Chris Pratt. Not gonna lie, that's really cool. I think I saw this in theaters. It came out a while ago. Like, I don't know how long this came out, like 2015, 2016? I don't even know. I have a lot of fun with this movie. I turn it on every once in a while. I think there's a lot of fun moments in here. I don't know if I'm gonna put it in the B tier or put it in the C tier. I think I'm gonna put it, you know, we have a lot of great movies on this list. I think I want to put it in the C tier just to be safe for now. I can change it later. Next up is the Minions. I'm a big Minions supporter, but that doesn't mean that it's a great movie. I think this one's actually really funny in a lot of parts, but the story is kind of stupid and kind of weird. But you know, King Bob lives forever. We love King Bob, so he's going in the D tier. But we love you, King Bob. You are an S tier. Next up are the Pirate of the Caribbean movies. I cannot see the titles very well in here. I think that's Dead Man's Chest. Dead Man's Chest is actually pretty great. I'm going to put that in the B tier. I haven't watched those in a while, so I don't have a lot really to say about them. But I kind of remember the overall gist of them. This is At World's End, I think. I think that's At World's End, yeah. It's going on a C tier. Not as good as Dead Man's Chest. Next up is Rogue One. Rogue One, I'm gonna do a hot take right here. Rogue One is my favorite Star Wars movie of all time. I don't care what anyone says. I think it's amazing what they were able to do with these kind of group of misfit characters. VFX is absolutely stunning. The best third act in a Star Wars movie that you can ever get. And I just love the ending of the movie. Oh, it's so good. And then Andor the series. Oh my gosh, Andor is so good. Also, I can't wait to see how they're going to follow up Andor Season 1 and lead it into Rogue One. It's going to be amazing. But Rogue One is actually my favorite Star Wars movie, and I rewatch it the most out of every Star Wars movie. It's going in the A tier. It's close to S. Skyfall. Skyfall isn't my favorite James Bond movie. A lot of people have it as their favorite James Bond movie. The direction is absolutely stunning. The cinematography is stunning. Daniel Craig, stunning as always. The action, especially at the ending, I think the action's awesome. I think this is the one where the action's in that one house at the end. I love that part. So I'm going to put it in the B tier. Looks like a good B tier. Yes. Spider-Man Far From Home. Yes. Far From Home. I'm a big supporter of Far From Home. A lot of people hate Far From Home. I don't really get the hate. I guess those are comic fans and they did things to piss off the comic fans. But I didn't really read the comics. I just have a lot of fun with this. Like, especially when it came out. It came out during the summer. And that was such a fun summer movie. Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio. Awesome. Then you had Nick Fury in this one alongside Spider-Man. I think that's an awesome duo. And all the fight scenes I thought were really cool, especially the VFX, how every single creature was made through Mysterio's like lenses. And the Mysterio fight scene with him getting all the illusions around Spider-Man, that's one of my favorite Spider-Man scenes, I can't lie. So I'm gonna put Far From Home in the B tier. Next up is No Way Home. No Way Home really was one of those moments, kind of like Endgame and Infinity War, where you had to be there. That was one of the biggest theater moments of the last kind of like 5-10 years. It made like 1.9 billion in kind of like the peak of COVID. People still had COVID, but we were all going to the theater. I saw it like 5 times in theaters, and I just remember every time Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire came on screen, the theaters just came out in an outburst. Everyone was cheering, clapping, crying. It was a huge moment. One of the biggest probably clap moments that I've ever heard in cinema. And I mean, I knew that Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire were going to be in it like a year before it came out, but I was still worried. I was still holding on. I was like, are they really going to be in it? I don't know, because they weren't showing them in any trailers, but it turned out to be one of my favorite theater experiences, so I'm going to put it in the S tier. I think it's amazing. Next up is The Phantom Menace. Oh, Lord, not The Phantom Menace. Oh, Lord, we got to get to all the Star Wars movies now. Phantom Menace, I don't care. I don't care about The Phantom Menace. I think some of it's pretty fun, some of it's pretty cool. Jar Jar Binks, I don't care about. No fault to the actor. But I just don't care about a lot of this movie. I think the prequels are really boring. So I'm going to put Phantom Menace in the D tier. I think that's nice. Next up is... what is that? Oh, that's The Force Awakens. Force Awakens is great. Even though it's kind of like a New Hope remake, somewhat, people will say. I kind of agree with that. I think Force Awakens is awesome. I think Rey's cool. Finn is cool, but he got mistreated so badly in the sequels, like the ones after that. Finn should have also been a Jedi. If you would have had Finn as a Jedi and Rey as a Jedi and the romance between them, that could have been a really cool storyline to really attack in that movie and the movies to follow. But they just had no idea what they were doing with this trilogy. I swear to God, they did not know what they were doing. But that's going to go in the B tier also. Next up is The Last Jedi. You know, I've come around to really think it's not as bad as people say. It's still not great. I think it has a lot of cool moments, like the throne scene moment when they're fighting all the guys, the red guys in there. I don't know what they're called. But I think like this whole movie is just so weirdly paced, and the plot is just so drawn out. Like they're literally in a ship in space for like half the movie. Star Wars should be about exploring planets, going to different planets. But then they do go to a different planet, and it's like a casino planet. And it's so stupid, so boring. But I mean, you know, some parts that make up for it are the last 30 minutes. I can agree with that, and I think Rose, the new character of being Rose, no fault to the actor again, but Rose was just not needed. She wasn't a needed character, and just made it so Finn looked even weaker. So I think The Last Jedi, I'm gonna put it in the C tier. You know, I have some fun with it. I can't lie, but it's not the best. Rise of Skywalker, Rise of Skywalker is an interesting one. There's some good moments, but overall, the D tier. Well, we got the Nolan Batman movies now. We got Dark Knight Rises. Dark Knight Rises, I just did a Nolan rewatch, so I'm ready to talk about these. Dark Knight Rises is an awesome story. I think it's a little too long at some parts, and I think the story gets a little convoluted at some parts, as I said. But I love the story of like getting broken down as hard as you can and just rising and getting reborn as a new hero. Just working so hard to like get your body back together, because Bruce Wayne got his back broken by Bane, and he had to work so hard to get back. Bane was taking over the city, and then you have that moment in the third act where Bruce Wayne comes out of the shadows. He comes back. Such an epic moment. I just wonder how cool that would have been to see in theaters. Like, that would have been awesome, you know. I wish I could have seen that. And then you have all the fight scenes, and Hathaway as Catwoman. I like her a lot in here. But yeah, I think it's a little too long, but I still find it to be great. The Dark Knight, one of the best comic book movies ever made. Heath Ledger, rest in peace to him. Amazing actor, our best Joker yet. And I think the best... I don't know. I think this and the Batman are tied for best Batman movie. But it's still going to go in the S tier for me. The Fate of the Furious? Are you joking? The Fate of the Furious made $1 billion? The Fate of the Furious is really silly, and I think Charlize Theron is the villain in here. She was a bad villain. And I think this is the one where this is the one where Vin Diesel kind of turned into a villain also, and he had like a really stupid performance as the villain. But The Rock was cool in here. I do love The Rock in the Fast and Furious movies. It's good that he's back. But yeah, Fate of Furious, I don't care too much about. So it's going in the D tier or F tier? Oh my god, I don't know. It's going in the D tier. I really have to hate a movie for it to be in the F tier, and Despicable Me 3 is just not for me. The Hobbit, Unexpected Journey, a really cool entrance into more like Lord of the Ring mythos movies. I never read the books, but I think the movies are awesome. And I think The Hobbit, the first one, is a really cool intro to our whole new journey. I don't like how they stretched it all out into a trilogy. I think it could have been one movie, no, not one movie, maybe two movies. Didn't have to be a whole trilogy. Could have been two movies, but I think the first Hobbit's awesome. It's an awesome journey. I think it's a little too long though, like every other Hobbit movie. It's still going in the B tier. Next up is the live action Lion King. I mean, kind of live action. CGI Lion King? Is that what we call it? Because it's mostly all CGI. The voice work here is pretty good. I'll give it that, but it's not one that I care about. Like, this is not necessary at all. And I just feel like I've never really been a major fan of The Lion King. I think it's a great movie, but I've never really put it as like my favorite, out of all those Disney movies. But this Lion King live action CGI remake, they want to call it, it's not great. Let's just say that. I don't think I'm going to put it in the F tier. It's just not great. Next up is Return of the King. Return of the King is probably like one of the best like trilogy caps that you can ever have. Lord of the Rings is my favorite trilogy. We still have Spider-Verse. It's going to finish its trilogy. Let's see how that holds up. But Lord of the Rings is such an awesome trilogy. Like, every year I try to rewatch the trilogy as the extended edition because it's such an epic journey. I love how Peter Jackson made this journey like such an epic experience, and Return of the King is such a fantastic kind of ending to this whole trilogy. Loved how it ended it, and I think this is one of the movies that really swept at the Oscars. I'm not sure how many it won, but I think it swept with winning all of its nominations. So that's a really good feat to have, and I don't think you're ever going to have a really big epic fantasy film do this good at the box office ever again. So it's going in the S tier. Next up is the Mario movie, another movie that joined the $1 billion club this year. One that I was disappointed with. It's really childish. I mean, I guess I can't fault that for it because people get mad at me when I say it's too childish, even though they always say Mario was for children. Yeah, but Puss in Boots 2 was a kid's movie, but it also had adult themes in it, and it also had pretty good action and writing in it. Mario didn't have any of that. It didn't have any good writing or any good like adult moments for us to enjoy who played the games when we were kids, which I think was a really big misstep. I think they could have added better scenes, better emotional moments in here for our characters, even if it's based off a kid's video game. I played it when I was a kid, but I'm an adult now. I would like some more adult themes and adult jokes for me to enjoy. But all that said, I think it's okay. I mean, there's some cool action here. The animation's cool. Jack Black as Bowser, one of my favorites. So yeah, I'll put it in the C tier. I feel like it's fine. Next up is Titanic. Titanic is one that I was very late to the game with this one. I watched it for the first time last year, I think, and I was kind of blown away by what James Cameron was able to do with this movie. And I was just like stunned, it's such an epic movie. And I was actually lucky enough to rewatch this movie in theaters this year in 3D. And that was such a cool experience. Some movies I wish they brought back to theaters like this movie. I would go see them all in a heartbeat. With the strike going on, just re-release some old movies. I would go see them. I want to keep theaters afloat. And if that's the one way to do it, I'll do it. Because Titanic was an epic experience in theaters. It's going in the A tier. Next up is Toy Story 3. I think this is one of the best Pixar movies that you can ever have. The whole story of them leaving Andy and basically going to this daycare, and Lotso was the main villain, is kind of laughable, awesome. But it's also kind of like a Barbie and Ken spin-off movie if you want to get funny with it. Other than that, I have a lot of fun with this movie. It has some great emotional moments at the end. I think it's clearly going to go in the A tier for me. I mean, it would be close to an S tier. I think it's going to stick in the A tier for now. Toy Story 4, on the other hand, I think this is actually pretty... I'm in a very different course than a lot of other people. I love Toy Story 4. I don't know why a lot of people don't. I feel like it's a really epic journey with some new characters. And I really do, I don't know, I really do enjoy what they do with Woody's character at the end. It's kind of the end of Woody's story by the end of the movie. And I really enjoy that. I feel like it really works a lot. So I'm going to put Toy Story 4 in the B tier. It's almost in the A tier. Next up is Transformers Age of Extinction. Ugh. I think we actually do have another F tier here with Despicable Me. Yeah, Age of Extinction is just so stupid. Like, they went so off the rails during Age of Extinction, and no Shia LaBeouf. means no good. No good. No good. No Shia LaBeouf. I hate it. No. I love Shia LaBeouf. Mark Wahlberg, you're just not him. You're just not Shia LaBeouf, my guy. Okay. Dark of the Moon. Dark of the Moon is actually really fun because guess what? It's got Shia LaBeouf in it. Yeah, it does. And it has one of the best third acts I've ever seen. Even though it's like action heavy, it's so much fun. Dark of the Moon, C tier. Awesome. Zootopia. I think this one's awesome. I think it's great. Go back to this one a lot. I think it's very rewatchable. And I love our two main characters and their little romance at the end. And I can't wait for Zootopia 2. I think that was a needed sequel out of the ones they announced. So I can't wait. It's going in the B tier. Wait, is it? Yes. Next up is Avengers 1. Avengers 1, just like I said, it's a great movie. But I do like Avengers Age of Ultron even more. But Avengers, the first Avengers really changed movies in general and comic book movies in general. Just like The Dark Knight did. No one expected Avengers to blow up as big as it did. But it did. So it's going in the B tier. Next up is Top Gun Maverick. One of my favorite movies of last year. Such an amazing experience. Kind of saved cinema as a whole, kind of like No Way Home did. But this one brought back all different ages, all different genders to the theater. Everyone went out to go see this at the start of summer. The biggest movie, well, no, not the biggest movie last year, like the second biggest, because Avatar: The Way of Water. But yeah, one of the best theater experiences I've ever had. It's such a cool movie, I think, and Tom Cruise is just my favorite action star of all time. So it's going in the S tier. Next up, Incredibles 2. I'm a big defender of this also, just like Toy Story 4. A lot of people don't like this one. I mean, it's not as good as Incredibles 1. We can all agree with that, but I think it's awesome. The villain is the only thing that I gripe on. The villain just makes me roll my eyes every time. It's such a dumb villain. It's going in the B tier. All right, it's time to do the final ranking. Despicable Me 3, you were not last place. Good for you. You really stayed in there for the last final fight. In the D tier, we got, oh man, let's rank all these movies. Where do we want to put these movies? You know, Frozen 2, you're going in first place. Captain Marvel, actually, do I want to put Captain Marvel in second place? Do I want to be like that? You know, yeah, I will. It's not that bad. But last place, I do know last place is probably going to be, Phantom Menace because I think it's pretty boring. No, it's going to be Lion King. I don't like the Lion King that much. Phantom Menace, and then it's going to probably be the Minion movie because it's kind of fun but also not a great movie. And then we're gonna go yeah, I'm actually gonna leave it like that. I think it looks pretty nice. Jurassic World Dominion I would watch over Rise of Skywalker and Fate of the Furious. I'm not gonna lie, I would. It's just my choice. C tier is where it gets fun. We have some pretty fun movies on here. They're not great movies, but they're actually pretty decent watch. I'll go rewatch them a lot. So in the C tier, what we're gonna do here, we're gonna put Pirates of the Caribbean at the top because I think it's a really fun series of movies that you have. Then I'm gonna go Iron Man 3, then Aladdin, and then Aquaman 2, and then I'm gonna go Frozen, Finding Dory, and then we're gonna go Furious 7 over Finding Dory, and then we're gonna go Jurassic World. I forgot about Jurassic World goes second. That was awesome. Let's settle on last place here. Last place is definitely going to be Last Jedi, and then Mario because frick no. Yeah, actually, frick Mario. Mario's a pretty weak movie. And then that, and then we're actually gonna go Dark of the Moon over some of these movies. And actually, Fury 7 or, yeah, Fury 7 over Jurassic World 2. I think the C tier looks awesome. Like, those are some movies where I would go back to just for the fun of it. I think they're fun movies. Now to the B tier. B tier is going to be the hardest one since we have the most movies on this tier. But I think that first place on the B tier for me would be Dark Knight Rises because I think it's sitting close to an A tier. And then after that, I think I would go The Force Awakens. No, actually, I would go. First place I would go Harry Potter 1, then Dark Knight Rises. And then after that, that's A Dead Man's Chest goes up there. It's a classic. And then after that, we'd probably go. This is where it gets difficult. You have so many movies. It's so hard to rank these. I just have such a hard time doing it. Next up after that, I'm gonna put Toy Story 4 somewhere in here. Then Age of Ultron is gonna go right there. Then I'll put First Avengers just below Age of Ultron because it's just below it. Force Awakens. Force Awakens is going to go above Age of Ultron. And then we have, it gets a little confusing here, but I'm going to put The Hobbit I'm going to put The Hobbit at the last place marker here. And Zootopia is actually going to... I like the last three right there. Those make a little more sense to me. Far From Home. I'm going to put Far From Home up here. I'm a big Spider-Man lover. What can I say? And then we're actually going to go Toy Story 4. And then we're going to go Civil War. Skyfall. Actually, move Skyfall all the way up here. What are we doing here? Skyfall deserves to be up here. And then I think that looks pretty good. Actually, I'm going to put Zootopia over Black Panther. I like Black Panther a little bit, but it's not as good as those movies. Alright, I think the B tier looks great. It's movies that I rewatch a decent bit, and I think they're awesome movies, so I think that list looks great. Now we get to the A tier, where we don't have as many, but I think they're amazing movies. So last place on the A tier, I think last place we can all agree. Nah, Toy Story deserves to be pretty high. But you know, A tier A tier, don't kill me if your favorite movie is last on A tier. Still an amazing movie in my opinion. But I think the bottom of A tier is going to be the first Avatar because some of it I just don't care for. Titanic deserves to be all the way up there. And then I'd go like that. Then I would go like that, and then I would go and probably move Joker right there. Yeah, I like the look of A tier. I think that makes a lot of sense. I'm actually gonna put Barbie above Joker because I have a little more fun watching Barbie than Joker because Joker's kind of depressing. Next up though is S tier. S tier means some of my favorite movies of all time. Movies that I just can't get enough of, have some amazing moments, and I think a lot of people can agree they're all amazing. But let's rank the S tiers. Last place. Spider-Man No Way Home. Not as great as all the other ones. After No Way Home, what am I going to do here? I'm going to put Avatar The Way of Water just above Top Gun, because I'm going Top Gun Maverick, then Avatar The Way of Water, because Avatar The Way of Water I thought was better than Top Gun Maverick. So after that, I think we have some great movies here. But I'm going to put Return of the King. Return of the King is just first place for me. It's such an epic ending to a trilogy. I think it deserves that place. Then I'm going to go with... No, I'm not going to go Infinity War in second place. I can't do that. I'm going to put Dark Knight and then Jurassic Park. And then we're going to go with Infinity War. Then Deathly Hallows Part 2. Then Endgame. I think that looks pretty good. I mean, if you guys have a separate list, leave it down in the comments. Don't write down 52 movies in your comments. Just write down like the top 10 billion-dollar movies that you enjoy the most. Not that are the best movies that you enjoy the most. I think that some of these are like ones that I enjoy the most, but I think some of these are the best movies on the list in my opinion. We can all have our own opinions, so yeah, leave your top 10 billion-dollar movies in the comments. But that's our end of the tier list. Let me know what you guys thought of my decisions. Some of them I could switch every other day because it's 52 movies, 53 actually. It's hard to rank all these. So so yeah, I have a hard time ranking that many movies, but we did it. We got to the end of the line, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you leave a like on this video. Helps out a lot. Subscribe to the channel. I upload almost every day. Share the video with your friends, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.